All right, we'll get rolling. I am Joey. You all know me from far too many videos at this point. I'm sitting here with Charla, Christina, and Rob from Webgility. We'll go around in that exact order. Why don't you all tell everyone what you do,
Sure.
who you're with?
Charla with ShipStation, manage our partner marketing and events team.
Excellent. I'm Christina with Webgility, and I manage our marketing organization as well as our partnerships organization.
All right, I'm Rob from Webgility. I run the product team, and I help with partnerships when I can.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Y'all are familiar with Austin at this point. We're always happy to have you in office. Right now, we're gonna talk a little bit about trade shows. We're gonna talk about, especially since we are in the heart of trade show season, South by is just ramping up. The trade show is about to wind down, but we're also going to talk about like product strategy, the kind of the why behind what gets created and how. So Rob, why don't we start there? What exactly do you do as a product manager? What does that encompass for folks, for some of our mutual users that don't necessarily have a product manager on their team, who aren't in the tech field? What is a product manager? What is that sort of all about?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the way that I view it is product management is about trying to solve a problem. So although there's a lot of discussion about features and development and what the new thing is going to be, it's generally best to spend most of your time focusing on the actual problem itself. And that goes back to early things, like Procter & Gamble had the consumer package group, and there was product managers for that. Mm-hmm. So it's not entirely just digital or software products. It can be physical products as you change them and you try to make them suit a particular purpose.
Right. So as long as there's a problem to be solved, the product manager is always going to have that position will always exist in any field, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, in some form or another, absolutely. Somebody has to be doing this. You have to figure out what problem you're solving. You have to identify a potential solution for it. You have to test it. You have to make it, right? You have to produce it.
Right.
And then you have to bring it to market. So, that's kind of the whole process of product management in a nutshell.
Okay, very cool. So what are some of the biggest sorts of problems that you and Webgility in general are very excited? What are you most excited to be solving, to be cracking?
Yeah, we love small business, right?
Yeah.
Especially e-commerce. But small business as a whole is the majority of the market, and at the same time they have so few solutions prepared for them. They're marketed to, they're told to spend a ton of money, but nothing's really tailored. And you compare that to an enterprise, and an enterprise has custom-built solutions that are all tailored perfectly to their business. And so we really like solving that problem for small businesses, and that's where we come in with the partnerships, where ShipStation is market leading at shipping. We try to be market leading at the financial side of the business. So connecting to industry leaders, pulling out the financial data that matters, and helping automate that. So somebody who really loves building and selling products, e-commerce, doesn't have to worry about becoming an accountant or becoming a financial analyst or becoming an operations manager.
Which is definitely one of the biggest hurdles for breaking into e-commerce and just being a super successful e-com is, you can't possibly be an expert in everything. There's far too much. You can't know everything about marketing and selling and finance and shipping. And that's one of the, and when I last spoke with Christina in January, one of the things we realized is, we have Webgility and ShipStation have very similar goals in that, we want to democratize shipping. Y'all want to democratize what it sounds like to me is the financial side of it. Give the small businesses, give those small users, or even not small, medium, even medium to big, give them that opportunity, that chance, the tools they need to go up against, those bigger companies that have those things already custom built.
Yeah, and it's not even just, it's allowing them to scale at a rate that they weren't able to before. Because again, they can focus on their product, they can focus on their sales and marketing, they can focus their resources better. So it really helps them scale as well.
Oh, yeah. It means they get to, essentially, if they're, say, better at selling or finding a new product or creating a new product to sell, they get to focus on that instead of the financial aspect of it or the shipping aspect of it. We're both in shipping and in finance, we're not exactly the the cool,
It's not
fun.
the most glamour. People aren't like, you know what I'm going to do when I grow
Yep.
up? I want to ship. I don't
No.
care what I ship.
No.
I'm going to ship.
I can't wait to pack that box, get that tape on, slap the label. No one is excited about that. That's not why you start in e-commerce. That's not why you solve a problem via a product. No one,
Right.
when we've
They're
got folks.
excited to see it go out the door. They're excited when the customers
that's
get
great.
it. And
When you
we
see the
come in.
tracking update delivered, that's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But getting it to that point, a little bit less than glamorous, as you put it. Yeah.
And again, same with the financial end of things.
Yeah.
Because again, you're not going into making dog ponchos because you like accounting.
Or bird diapers, or
Bird
any of the
diapers,
other
or-
numerous types of interesting products.
I'm terrible with numbers and math, and I should be better. But it's just one of those things that I can't wrap my head around it.
It's hard to conceptualize.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it is, and getting into some of the numbers of our users, I could never possibly handle all of that. It's just something that is so beyond my own personal capabilities.
Right.
So if I were to do this, yeah, absolutely, I would need something like Webgility to help me with that.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
and
that's-
I was just gonna say there's a lot of things that are going on, right? So you want to understand your profit margin. There's reconciliation. I mean, so it's not just numbers in, numbers out either.
Right.
There's a lot of things that go along with that as well.
Yeah.
And you touched on a lot of points. I mean, part of our core mission is to help people get back to the part that they actually enjoy.
Yeah,
Give
them the time.
and that's
to do
very
that.
seldom the accounting, the reconciliation, the analysis,
Same with shipping.
right, the shipping, the boxing, the label, the printing, the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, make it easy, make it fast, so that they can actually focus on expanding, on
Right.
going international, and,
Yep.
and just taking care of their business without having to worry about necessarily the details of how you create a label or how you run a finance report.
Yep.
So, Rob, we're going to stick with product for a little bit more now. What's kind of your framework for moving, essentially a problem to a product to a solution to release? So what does that kind of look like?
Yeah. So if you look at it from the perspective of a product that already exists, right? Because most people aren't creating a brand new product. They're typically adjusting something. They're making something fit to their particular take on the problem. If you really look at it, you're probably covering some portion of it, and if you're lucky enough to be having customers, you have feedback from them. Typically, they want more things. They want the next cool
Naturally.
thing. And what you want to avoid is becoming that Swiss Army knife with 10,000 connections, none of which actually do the job right.
Yeah.
So taking a look at what people are asking, and I kind of joke with our sales and support team that I want them to ask why, and what then. Because if somebody says, "Hey, I want a cool widget," okay, why? They'll typically give you that first level answer like, "Oh, because I get something cool out of it." Okay, well, why do you want that cool thing?
Yeah.
Okay, and then when you finally get a deeper answer, you go, "What do you want to do then?" Because very similar to your point, I want my financial data in the accounting system. Okay, why? Because then I can see these reports. Okay, what are you going to do with those reports? And that's the problem that they're actually trying to solve when they ask you for some feature.
Yeah.
So going from, they already know that you're trying to solve something similar, and they're looking at fitting you into their process and helping them solve a problem they actually have. If you can get down to that deeper level of really, what are you going to do with the result of this? You might even be able to skip all of those steps and give them something that does that for them. And that's the essence of really trying to solve a problem. And from there, the actual iterations are, you try to design something. If it's a physical product, you try to actually create something that's like it, that can function sort of close to it.
Yeah.
Especially before a manufacturing run. I mean, everybody talks about software, needing to test, but realistically, a physical product would be way harder.
Oh, yeah.
Because you may have to drop millions of dollars for a production
To
run.
develop something, yeah.
I would so much rather have something that I go talk to customers and say, "Hey, would you use this if it looked like this?" And they go, "Oh, no. Great, I'll change it for $5 instead of 5 million." And then from there, when you get to something that looks good or seems to fit the problem, then you go out, you hire a great marketing team, and you get it out in front of customers.
Yeah. No, that sounds a lot. I can't speak necessarily for the product team, but I did have a chance to speak with our co-founder, Byron, last week, a week and a half ago. I don't remember when it was, but I got to sit with him for about half an hour and just have a conversation about the history of ShipStation and his kind of approach to all this, because he's kind of, I'm not sure his exact title, but he plays such an integral role in designing the product and where it's going and what new features we're going to roll out. And it was very much that same sort of approach. We're listening to our users. We're hearing what they're doing. We use, obviously we've got our amazing sales team, our account managers. We've got our feedback forum where users can kind of upvote certain features. Hey, this is the one we want. This is what's important to us. How does Webgility listen to your users? How do you gather that feedback essentially about products you're trying to roll out or new features you're trying to add?
Yeah, well, one thing to always remember is that customers are not going to need you to beg them to tell you what they think.
Never ever.
They're going to find a way to tell you how they feel.
Oh, yeah.
We typically look at that through the sales process because that's a whole different subset of people. If they're not buying from you today because you don't solve a problem, those are the only people that are ever going to hear that.
Yeah.
So there's a certain type of feedback that the sales team can get. And again, I try to train them to ask those questions so I can get further besides just a checkbox. Then inside we have account managers who actually have a build long-term relationship. So if they're interacting and they say, hey, this customer is really frustrated because this thing isn't happening, that's a little bit more like longitudinal.
Yeah.
Longitudinal? Long-term. And that gives you more of a perspective of what's bothering people for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have an in-app chat and we have a support team as well. And a lot of that feedback is all aggregated automatically.
Perfect.
So then we pull all that in, we actually attach it to our roadmap. So, a nice tool of the trade to help us accomplish our goal. Bring all the research in, literally tag it in the same program and run it through our roadmap so we know who we're solving problems for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's important to think about, at least for an organization our size and your size as well, is you need to bring marketing into it because there are some things that are like, these are fantastic, great to have, great features, but they might not necessarily be marketable. And so you really need to think about, like, is this going to be, really good for, to be honest, for the company, right? Is this going to serve, a large amount of customers, or is it just one customer that wants this? So it's always important to have that loop as well. Just so, again, you're going to market with a marketable product or solution or feature.
Good point.
So.
I forget about that sometimes because we share an office and talk daily at least.
You're like, what'd you say? No, we don't want that. No.
Whoop, okay, yeah.
You see it on his whiteboard and be like, what is that?
Just erase it when he's not moving.
Right. I haven't thought of that.
Get rid of it real quick.
You're on more than I am. I'd be careful.
Well, we're gonna shift gears now. We're gonna move away from product a little bit, and we're gonna talk about one of the reasons y'all are in town right now, South by Southwest. One of Austin's biggest. You can't even just call it a conference. There is the trade show, but then there's also music and film and interactive.
It is Austin.
Yes.
In a little microcosm, it absolutely is. But trade show season is really ramping up. Charles, how many have we been to already this year?
Wow.
And it's only March something. It's mid-March. Yeah.
We've already had 6 shows. March is going to be our
That's wild.
heaviest month when it comes to trade shows.
Yeah,
Most
spring's
definitely.
always a crazy trade
Oh,
show.
yeah.
And actually it's a good segue to what you're talking about because we actually do get a lot of feedback and information
You get to
at
interact
shows.
with users
We
directly.
get, exactly, and prospects, right? So they're like, what exactly do you do and why are you doing this and how's it going to help me? And then you have a customer there, to help them understand how it all works. And then the trade shows are great because when we do them with our partners, we can show how everything fits together. So it's not just we're Webgility, we work with e-commerce, and we do we help
Right.
with your finance, and you're ShipStation, you work on shipping, and BigCommerce. So we're all there together,
Yep.
and we can work together at those shows to again sort of help people understand what that tech stack looks like, where everybody fits in, and help them understand that we've already done the integrations, so they don't actually. A lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to implement another software, and it's like, well,
You don't.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, you don't have
We
to.
already did it.
Yeah.
So for us, the trade shows are significant for many reasons, including lead gen, but then also it helps us really work closely with our partners as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to kind of echo what Christina said, I think it's a really cool experience for a user that has no experience with these brands, right?
Yeah.
We're doing
know.
hands-on demos. We have experts in the booth. And we've had a couple instances where we've grabbed a partner and said, hey, somebody would like to really understand how these two solutions work together.
Right.
So I think it's a really cool opportunity. And even for someone that's a veteran ShipStation or Webgility user to also just kind of come and get brushed up, ask questions, just see, get some hands-on experience with the
Yeah,
integrations.
that's a good point. Like our solution is very much like set it and forget it. So they don't necessarily always see and understand sort of the new features and functionality.
Right,
So sometimes when they come to shows, they can see that and see it in action and then go back and start leveraging it more.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, and not to forget
No,
that if you're at Shop Talk.
Yes, Shop Talk next week on Monday.
Where is Shop Talk?
Shop Talk everything's in Vegas. Besides South by, there's Vegas. Yeah, Shop Talk in Vegas, which is a phenomenal show. This is the second year they've done it. They get phenomenal speakers. The content is amazing. The sessions are amazing. And then the structure of the expo is really cool, too. So we will be there, and then we're doing a party on that Monday night at Double Barrel. Reach out to us. Let us know if you guys want to come. And then after that, we have Magento Imagine that is in, guess where? Vegas.
How did I not get on any of these shows, by the way? How come I don't get to go to these Vegas trips? I got to
You
figure
can
that
go.
out.
I will.
You can go. One show is fine. 15 is.
It gets a little exhausting.
Exactly.
If you need me to step in for one of these Vegas
Thank you.
trips, Christina, I'm happy to.
appreciate
You can
it.
give me the quick rundown. I can become a Webgility expert like that.
And then
It'll
if
be
they bring up
perfect.
shipping, you'd be like, oh, wait.
Well, as it turns out, let me put on this shirt real quick. ShipStation.
Exactly. Yeah, and then IRCE is really the
course.
biggest show of the year. That is actually in Chicago.
A new location.
Not in Vegas.
That's the first weekend of June?
June.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, which will be great. We're doing a lot of things with our partners, with ShipStation, BigCommerce. I mean, literally everybody who's in e-commerce is there.
Is there,
So we'll
yeah.
spend a lot of time with them. Do some joint programs, do some parties, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Exactly.
So one of the things, what I love about South by is, and I noticed it last year, is a few of our users actually have booths there. So in fact, I got this shirt from Social Imprints last year at South by. They ran out of my shirt size this year, so I'm out of luck. But ran into Social Imprints, ran into Sock Club, who's here in Austin. It's so cool to be able to see these companies that have grown to a point where they're able to afford to be in there.
Exhibit
Now,
at South by.
obviously, these trade shows can get the conferences can get kind of expensive. It can be harder for a small company to get in. But what exactly is the benefit of getting in there, of interacting with the conference, or just being in the city at the same time the conference is going on?
Well, I'll kind of just give you an example of my experience the last couple of days here at South by. I mean, I've met anyone from Mark Lamonis, who gave amazing tips for small business owners, all the way to a really cool person on the railway that just had an idea and was just, really excited, and we kind of brainstormed back and forth some marketing things that he could do. So, I mean, it's such a big variance of different people that you come into contact with. I always say, professional development's a big point of going to trade shows, but it doesn't just happen in these breakout sessions. It happens in conversations at lunch.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, in public transportation,
When you're
wherever you're staying.
walking with the crowd somewhere, or just kind of in around the spaces, there's all these conversations. Everyone's always talking. You overhear something, it's like, wait a second, actually. And then suddenly you're networking with 4 or 5 other people.
Right.
Waiting in line for an event. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
one of the
that's-
people that I hang out with in Austin all the time, I met at South by a couple of years back, just standing in line, started talking.
Yeah.
Same thing. Overhear a particular topic, go,
Yep.
tell me more.
No, and I think that's the beauty of being able to be in, for us, to be in Austin. This is ShipStation's home, so to have South by here is great, because we can all just kind of, so much of our support and our sales team will, after work, just kind of congregate downtown and be at some of these unofficial parties, unofficial events, and you're not necessarily working, but you're also working, because when that opportunity comes up, when you hear something, it's like, oh, you're shipping. Well, let's have a quick chat about that. Actually, here's a card. No, there's all those. It's such a great way to just kind of get your hands out into all of it.
Yeah, and I think, like you're saying, so not everybody can afford to be at some of these shows, right? And you have to be really particular about what shows you go to, and working with your partners so that you can have more impact when you're at them. But some of the things that both ShipStation and Webgility have been doing lately is sort of being on the peripheral, right? So we might not be sponsoring a show, but we're going to do a party and invite some key people to it, right? And so I think that's something that other businesses can actually do. Like, even if you're having a party with 5 people and they're the right 5 people, it's going to cost you a couple $100, but it's going to be worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's ways that you can participate, whether you're actually attending the show, going to the sessions, sponsoring some sort of a dinner, and then obviously just networking is key,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because those people, I mean, that's your network. So you've
Yeah.
got to start building that.
Yeah.
It'll make your life easier.
And that's an interesting point. I mean, throwing a party is one version of going ahead and planning something with certain people.
Yeah.
Right? If you are at an event, it's not just magic. You're not magically going to be forced into interacting with the best people ever. If you set up like a breakfast meeting or a lunch meeting or a dinner meeting with someone that you're looking to meet before the conference even starts, then you're sort of forcing these interactions in ways that you might not be able to just leave up to luck.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got some trade show veterans here. I want to know what's your favorite trade show? Not this year necessarily, but just in general. Which one stands out the most? Which is the one that you're always like, yeah, get me down on that list?
I would probably say IRCE, just because it's like the Super Bowl in the e-commerce space, in my opinion. There's so many cool people.
Yeah.
All of our partners under one roof. Once again, just the people you get to network and meet with, and the users that you get to hear amazing feedback from. And it's just amazing. So IRCE for me.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, again, the number of people that are there, the people that are there, I mean, those are folks who are going to be our target because they can afford to go to a trade show and participate. And again, all of our partners are there, which is fantastic. It's in Chicago, which is not Vegas, and be amazing in and of itself. But
No offense to Las Vegas, we love you. I promise.
But Shop Talk, again, this is the second year that they've had it, and because it's such a new show, they really do have amazing speakers that I think are really helpful for our target market. So even if they spend the entire time in those sessions, they will get so much out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's just, for me, it was exciting to see these people like, oh my God, hey, I can do this. And
To kind of see that light bulb go off almost like, oh my God, that's going to
yeah.
save me so much time or money or
like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one.
having that
Oh,
problem.
everybody else here doesn't know what they're doing. Awesome. So for me, it was just, again, it was the first year they'd done it. We're doing it again next year. We'll see how it goes. So it was just kind of a nice experience
Cool.
to see them. So excited about the potential. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome. What have you got? So we've got Shop Talk, we've got IRCE.
I actually agree with IRCE.
All right.
Outside of South by,
Yeah.
that is definitely
It
the Super
is,
Bowl.
yeah.
And again, just the number of people, the different things you can see. And even if you're not going to sessions, you can learn a lot just by going through the trade show, looking at the topics that are being given during the content, and you can kind of get trends,
Yeah.
That's true.
As
See
we
what's
go year to
important for
year,
you. Yeah.
exactly. You start seeing new technology or new tools you didn't realize were there, and you go, solving a problem, that must be a thing. Okay, right. Either I'm ahead or behind of what everyone is already doing.
Right.
So it's an interesting.
Like
sort
5 years ago, who would have thought like artificial intelligence would be
Oh,
big
yeah.
for retail, right?
Yeah. And now-
it's like, right? So it is interesting to see the innovations that are coming out and how different technology is being used.
I really like that idea, actually, kind of looking at all the agendas. If you can't afford to go to one of these shows or any of them, looking at the agendas of all these big shows, IRCE, Shop Talk, South by, and then kind of going off, finding that trend, and then researching that, figuring out how you can implement that into your business. And a lot of these, they may not be aired live, but you can probably find clips of them online somewhere, so that you can still almost participate without actually being there.
Right.
You can still get a lot of that benefit.
Well, even
I like that a lot.
you know who the speaker is, right? So
Yeah.
you can be like,
You can-
hey, you know what? I was not able to make IRCE. I would love it if you could either send me your presentation or, love to reach out to you, whatever. I mean, people are usually pretty good about that. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I feel like that kind of wraps up my questions. Any closing thoughts from anyone? What else?
I just kind of wanted to mention something because we've brought up a couple of times that if you can't afford to make it to a trade show, another awesome solution is just go out and attend user meetups, local events in your
Yes.
city
Absolutely.
that are usually
Absolutely.
relatively free, if not minimal cost. You can get all the same benefits that we're explaining from a trade show there
Right.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good point.
We've got our monthly user meetup.
Yes.
In Austin alone, there's ecom meetups, there's a HubSpot meetup, there's just all sorts of different meetups of all these. Essentially, your peers are there trying to figure out exactly what you're trying to figure out. It's a great way to kind of exchange ideas. At ShipStation University last week, I was able to talk to two of our users who met at one of our meetups and wound up working together on a pretty cool
cross promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're again another way to network. Meetups are almost like the free version of a conference. So
Yep.
100% folks need to take advantage of that. You just get to do so much, learn so much, and network.
Yeah, or even like you're saying with your new university,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great opportunity for people to understand how they can leverage everything
Oh, yeah.
better and
Yeah.
to be more effective and scale better. So that's great.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Rob and
Thank you.
Christina and Charla.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having us.
a ton for coming into the office. Until next time, whenever that may be, one day we'll have to get out to your office.
Well, we'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah, well, see-
we'll see you in.
Yeah, rub it in a little bit more. Thanks so much. Well, thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll check you later.
Yeah.